Now to the woman, he says, I will surely multiply your pain in childbearing. In pain you shall bring forth children. Your desire will be, here's how the ESV translates it, contrary to your husband, but he shall rule over you. So the woman's going to get consequences. Now, we sometimes read this and we think, see, that's why birthing babies hurt so much. And we blame Eve. Well, we don't. I don't, because I don't experience it. Contrary to our popular opinion these days, men cannot, in fact, birth children. So, now, however, I don't think this is talking about labor pains. Why do I think that? The word for childbearing, I will multiply your pain in childbearing, is a word in Hebrew that refers specifically to the conception of children, not delivery. There's a different Hebrew word that refers to delivering children. That's not this word. This word refers to conception. The word for pain is a word that doesn't usually or typically refer to physical pain, but it refers instead to emotional anguish, right? So it's the same word that's used in Genesis 3 and verse 17 about Adam, where it says, God says to the man that you will have painful toil in the ground, pain. Now, what's the reference there? Is it like that he's going to have physically demanding, excruciating work? No. It means that as he does work, he's now going to experience toil and anxiety and frustration as he does that. Why? Because the ground does not yield to him as its ruler, as the one with dominion over the earth. Instead, it rebels against him. We'll get to more why that is. But this is why the King James Version does the best job with this. In verse 16, it's not pain. It says that I will multiply your sorrow. I'll multiply your sorrow. So what is this talking about? What God is saying is that the entire process of conceiving and carrying and delivering and raising children is going to be stained by the sin that the man and the woman have committed. That the whole entire thing is going to be stained by anxiety, sorrow, and fear. Because why? Because now they live in a fallen, broken world. So now she's going to be asking questions like this. Will she even be able to conceive children? She will have anxiety at all of the physical discomforts of pregnancy and delivery. She will have fear about whether she and the baby will even survive the birth process. She will have anxiety at what life will do to her children. She will experience fear because of the vulnerability of a mom and a new baby. Namely, what if the man leaves and she's left all alone? Before human sin, before their decision to be narcissistic, selfish, autonomous, independent from God people, that question would have never arisen. But now it will. Because they both decided, we're not going to follow God, we're only going to follow ourselves. So now you got to ask other questions. What if he leaves? What if he hurts us? What if he abandons us? What if he exploits us? Do you see how those kind of questions would not have been asked in Genesis 2, but they sure as hell are going to be asked in Genesis 3. And she's going to have to bring children into the world that is broken and shattered and unknown and dangerous. And so when God says, I'm going to greatly multiply, as the King James Version says, your sorrow in conception, he's not talking at least primarily about it's going to hurt a lot when you deliver that baby. That's not what he's saying. What he's saying is that your decision and the man's decision to run this place in opposition to me, in independence from me, it's going to hurt. It's going to hurt because you're going to be broken and ruined and corrupted by your sin, every single one of you. This is God saying that sin is going to make the blessing of children hurt, and not physically. In Genesis 1:28, God blessed them And he said, be fruitful and multiply and fill the earth and subdue it and have dominion over the fish of the sea and over the birds of the heavens and over every living thing that moves on the earth. Having children was intended by God to be a blessing. And it is still going to be a blessing, but it's going to be a blessing that brings with it a good deal of attending anxiety, sorrow, worry, fear, and yes, physical pain.